Class, we're going to apply systems of equations. So as we talked about in class, we have three different methods we could solve systems of equations with. The first one is graphing. It's the first one we worked on. Finding one line, finding the other line, finding where they intersect, finding if the lines are parallel or if they overlap each other. So that's how we graph the systems of equations. And then we have solving by substitution, where you find the value of one variable, plug it back into the equation, find the value of the other variable to get your ordered pair. And then lastly, we have solving systems of equations by elimination. So with several ways to solve systems of equations, we can often choose the method that is most practical based on the system. Basically, we're going to choose which of the ways is easiest for each question. Read the description for the method that each student chose and draw a line connecting the description to the student's system. Sam wants to solve his system using substitution because one of the equations, that's the key word, one of the equations is already solved for a variable. So if there's one that's already solved for a variable, this one right here, we have one equation written in slope-intercept form. So that matches Sam's description using substitution. Tess wants to solve her system using elimination because one of the variables has opposite coefficients. So one of the variables will be able to cancel itself out with the same variable in a different equation. So where do we have two variables that will cancel each other out? Oh, right here on the first one. And lastly, Bo wants to solve his equation by graphing because both equations, both of them are written in slope-intercept form. So this applies to this one in the middle then. Number one, solve Sam's system using the method he chose. So Sam chose substitution. And we're just gonna work until we get an ordered pair here, sorry. So Sam wanted to solve this one with substitution. We're gonna have 3x plus 2y equals 23. Okay, we're going to plug this y value in to this equation on top. So we're gonna have 3x plus 2 times the quantity, negative x plus 10 equals 23. So you can see that I just plugged this value for y, negative x plus 10, into this symbol for y right here. Okay, so now let's distribute and solve. Positive 2 times negative 1 gives us negative 2x. Positive 2 times positive 10 gives us positive 20. And let's combine like terms. We get x plus 20 equals 23. Subtract 20 from both sides, and we get x equals 3. Okay, now we got to just plug in this 3 into the original equation to find out what y is. So negative 3 plus 10 gives us positive 7 for y. Okay, so you see again, I plugged in 3 for x, negative 3 plus positive 10 gives us positive 7. So we write down 3 for x and 7 for y. So we've solved that system using substitution. And now solve Tess's system using the method she chose. Tess chose elimination. So negative 3y plus positive 3y, we could just add these up. They cancel each other out. And we're left with 1x plus 5x equals 6x. 6x equals, what's 9 plus 27? That's 36. Divide both sides by 6, and we get x equals 6. We could mark that in our ordered pair. And now let's plug that 6 back in for x. So we have 5 times 6 is 30. 30 plus negative 3 will give us 27. So we could put y as negative, y is negative 1. Let's see if that checks again. Let me check that one more time. 6 minus 5 times 30 plus... Okay, so it's going to be a -1. 6 and -1. And now solve Bo's system using the method he chose. So Bo said he wanted to use graphing. And all we have to do for this one is we have to plug these equations, type these equations into our Desmos calculator. And if you have a graphing calculator or if you want to use the Desmos testing calculator at home, this should work just fine. So that's what I did. I typed in those equations from Bo's question into the Desmos testing calculator, and we can see where our lines intersect. That's our solution. That looks like +8, -10. +8, -10. And we could just do one more here. Solve each system below, then list the method that you used and explain why. Explain why you chose that method. Okay, so we got 3 different methods here. For this one, looks like we could go any different way on this one, but for me personally, I think it's easy to change this into slope-intercept form, this first equation. So we're gonna get y equals -2x plus 8, okay? So now we have these 2 equations. So I'm gonna use substitution. I'm gonna write that down here. And we get -3x minus 2 times the quantity, -2x plus 8 equals -17. Let's continue to break it down. We get +4x, and now -16 equals -17, and we get x minus 16 equals -17, and we add 16 to both sides, and we get x equals -1. So x equals -1. Let's plug that -1 back in for x. 2 times -1 is -2. -2 plus +10 will give us 8. So we could plug in this x value into either the top equation or the bottom one, it doesn't matter, and we're still going to get 10 as our y value. Okay, so I think I've done enough right here. Just do the rest on your own. Answers will vary. Answers will vary on these two because one student might solve it using elimination, one might solve it using graphing, so it's completely up to you. And as long as we get the same solution, and you have a few questions on the reverse also. Thank you and good luck, ham class.